All right. Hey, everybody. We are on here with author Dr. Dave Schmittou, and we are having a party, people. We are doing our very, very first ever EduLaunch party. And so as a way to get excited about this book and to give out some books and to learn more about the book, we have invited Dave on to
give out books. We have to give out books.
We do. You're giving books out. Did you not know?
I have to give out books? Yes, I'm excited about giving out books. Yes, sorry. I just want to clarify. Yes, let's do this. That's the only reason I'm here.
Shoot. That was in the fine print. That was in, like, the fine
print. Man, that EduMatch contract is legit.
That's how we get you.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so we're so excited to be here. And we have so many fun things planned. We're going to talk a little bit about the book and how it came about. Dave is actually going to read from the book. He's going to do like an author reading, which I think is so cool. And then we have some surprise guests coming on as well to kind of give their feedback on the book too. And then we will be giving some books away periodically throughout the show. And we're giving books away, right?
Books? Oh, we did that already. Yeah, absolutely. We're giving away some books. Been there, done that. But yes, you are getting some books, people. So stick with us. But you got to stick around because, yeah.
Yep. Got to be here to win. Got to be present to win.
Got to earn it.
Yep. So we're so excited to be here. So we're going to start out with a little bit. Dave, tell us about yourself for the few people on the planet who might not know you.
Tell me about this. How much time do we have for Dave Schmittou to tell the world about himself? No,
I know you do like to talk.
I do. It's a good thing I am not the host of this today. No, but I am Dave Schmittou. I am a father of 4 amazing kids who range in age from 4 to 14. So I am exhausted all the time, super busy all the time. But I'm learning and growing every single day. I just finished my 20th year in education. I have been a classroom teacher. I've been an assistant principal, an athletic director, dean of students, an elementary principal, a middle school principal, assistant superintendent, curriculum instruction. And this fall, I'm excited that I get to transition into higher ed and become a full professor of educational leadership. And then I also get to just hang out with amazing people like you on a regular basis, just talking and sharing and learning and growing. So that's me.
That is fortunate for you that you get to hang out with such amazing people like me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking to the audience, man. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know you I was talking to you.
Sorry. Yeah, and I've known Dave for a long time, and we kind of do that back and forth, but he is legitimately one of my favorite people on the planet. So I'm so happy for him that he was that his launch day is today, and I get to be a part of it. So now you told us about yourself, we're just going to start out with one of the questions to get us started. So why did this book need to be written, and what is the purpose?
Oh, that's a big question, but it's a good question because I feel like right now everybody's writing books. You know, it seems like there are a lot of books out there, and we have a lot of choices on what we're going to pick up, what we're going to read, what we're going to flip through, what little graphics we're going to try to resonate on. But this is a book that, I'll be quite honest with you, has been in my head for 20 years. I just said I finished my 20th year of education. And I can honestly say I've been writing this for 20 years as my thoughts have kind of evolved, devolved, and grown and fallen apart, whatever. It's been a process. That doesn't mean I sat down behind a word processor or a computer for 20 years and actually physically started writing it, but it is truly filled with a lot of thoughts and ideas that have really formed my beliefs about education over the last 20 years. It's not a book filled with, this is what I did, copy what I did, and you'll be successful. It oftentimes, I'll be honest with you, a lot of the stuff in here is stuff I wish I would have done when I was in a classroom, when I had my own students in front of me, but I missed it. And it's stuff that I learned, a lot of it, after I left the classroom, once I became an administrator, or now in my own role, or just talking to other people. And a lot of my thoughts have just grown and evolved. I am a firm believer that there are very few magic bullets or silver bullets, magic pills in education. There are a lot of people out there professing to have the answer. This is a book that is an answer. It's not the answer. Don't pick this up if you think, hey, I just need to read this and all things in education are going to be solved. That's not the case. My goal in writing this is just to give you some thoughts, some ideas that'll probably transform the way you see data, education, assessment, students, and that will lead to a lot more thoughts and hopefully your own personal evolution as well. So that's the goal. It's not a how-to manual. It is truly a book designed for teachers who love kids, who believe that all kids can continue to grow, that all kids are in a process of learning, that school is not about trying to find kids and create kids that got it or don't got it and just slap labels on them. It's a book designed to help us learn how to learn about our students so that we can then push our students forward.
Sure. Yeah, I love that. And I love how you said it's not the answer. I actually just had this conversation with somebody and we were like, if somebody tells you they know, don't trust them.
That's it.
It's, nobody knows everything. Nobody has the secret sauce. Like nobody does. You have to be able to pick through what's there to see if it works for you. And one of the things that I love about our EduMatch books in general is that we have a lot of really smart people who tell you ways it can be done. And then we have a lot of really smart readers who kind of go through that and pick the ways that work for them. So I think that's awesome. And I love your title. How did you come up with the title?
I'll give you the total honest answer here. So the full title, I don't know if we actually said it or not, but the full title is Making Assessment Work for Educators Who Hate Data But Love Kids. That subtitle is my favorite part about it. And where it came from is, honestly, 2 years ago, I was getting ready to present at a conference, and I was presenting 3 sessions. I had applied to present 4 sessions. My 4th session was rejected by the conference, and I will leave the name of the conference out of this, but it was a major conference, a few thousand educators were there, and they rejected it, and I got some feedback. The title of my session was Making Data Work in Your Classroom, and it got rejected. And the feedback I got was teachers are sick of hearing about data. Nobody's going to come to a session about data. They're done with it. And it hurt. It hit me because this was something that I was passionate about. I thought that this was like my wheelhouse. I had answers to provide people, lots of value. But that feedback was spot on. I think there are people that actually love data. There are people that love to sit down and break down the statistics. But data has become the new 4-letter word in schools. I jokingly say that you can go into a staff lounge and drop the data word, and it's like you just dropped the F-bomb in the staff lounge. I write in the book that I won't be surprised to go into a bathroom someday and see data scrawled on a bathroom stall, because that's what people think about it right now. We've perverted that word so much because all we talk about are RIT scores and stale scores and stay-nines and standard deviations, and we're all chasing magical data that we really don't understand. I mean, we want students to succeed. We want students to grow. We want students to learn more, but we're chasing these numbers that are completely arbitrary in a lot of our heads. So that's where it came from. Is I realized you're right. There are a lot of educators out there that hate data, but truly see the value in it and see the value of assessment to drive instruction. So that's what this book is written for. It's written for educators who truly don't care about RIT scores and standard deviations and all of that stuff, the statistics, but they still want to see their kids grow and evolve and learn.
Sure. And I think, don't you think that part of that is, because I've thought about data before, and there is a value in data. Absolutely. For people who are like, well, I can just teach my kids. Well, there is value in data. The issue is that in education, I feel like we swing the pendulum so far to one side all the time without keeping it in the middle. Like there is a balance, and you have to be able to actually use data and use it well in order to drive instruction. And we don't teach teachers that.
Yep, spot on.
We never teach teachers to use data, ever.
Yeah. So you're spot on. John Hattie said when he did his big meta-analysis, he discovered that 95% of what we do in schools works. And that's amazing that 95% of what we're doing is working for kids and it's helping kids grow. But that's also the challenge, because then it becomes incumbent on us to say, okay, if it's all working, what's working the best? And that's where we get a lot of that resistance is, why do we need to adjust and fix things that are already working? We've all heard, don't fix what ain't broke. But our job as educators, when we only have students for 180 days out of their lifetime, not just 180 days in their school year, 180 days of their lifetime to make a difference. We need to make sure that we are making the biggest difference we can make, that we are truly maximizing our impact. And we need to make sure that what we're doing is reaching their full potential at all times. So that's where data comes into play. because we can just teach. I mean, we can stand in front of the room and just read a textbook to kids, and kids are going to learn. But are they going to learn all they can to the best of their ability? And that's when we need to start picking up the cues as to how kids are learning and how they're growing, and whether or not we're doing our best to reach their needs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just going to say one thing for anybody who's using Facebook. If you did not okay StreamYard, it's not going to post your name. So if you could just post your name after what you comment, that would be great. And that way we know who you are. And someone said, I'm a huge data fan. It helps me save time and energy because I know what to focus on. And that's amazing. Like, that's the perfect use of data, right? But not everybody knows how to do that. And I think that I think that's what somebody had, I forget who it was. I had seen that, but I was trying to listen to you. Oh, Melody, she said, data is right up there with rigor. When you said, I honestly think that the 4-letter F word is sometimes more accepted than data or rigor for them. But a lot of times I think that those feelings about those kind of words comes from a very deep, rooted issue of the fact that we use these words and we never really tell people what they mean.
Yep.
We don't create a common language. We don't teach them how to do it. We say, make sure that your lessons have rigor. And people are like, what the hell does that mean? I don't, I know what it means, but I don't know how to take it in a practical way and input it like you're telling me. And so that's when those words start to become, like the new 4 and 5-letter words.
You're so right. You're so right.
All right. So we have a couple of our guests on. So we're going to invite them in, I think.
Yay!
You have guests. I know. You have a party and 2 people showed up. 3.
Well, I'll take it.
Woo! Okay. So we have Deanna Lau and Mike Earnshaw are going to be joining us. So say hi to Deanna and Mike. Hey, guys.
Deanna and Mike. Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Yay, so good to see you. So we're celebrating the book release, Dave's book release. And so did you guys get the chance to read it, or how did you get roped into coming to his party?
Roped in? Wow. How did Dave drive you to willingly be here today?
Well, so Dave had reached out to me earlier, so I get to read a early draft of it. And it's funny, I think Dave was put on this for me. I mean, his first, when I read Bold Humility, that spoke to me so much. And then him and I started talking a lot around the Chicago Marathon time last year. And when he reached out and he's like, hey, I got this new book, and I'd seen him tweet it out. And the title, he was just talking about the title. I mean, it drew me in. I'm like, that's for me, because I'm a school principal and I hate data. And I have now admitted that to my staff that I'm not an expert with it. I need you to help me. And when he's like, you want to read an early version? I said, of course. So then when he asked me to come here, I'm like, well, of course I'm going to come here. I'm not going to miss this. So that's why I'm here.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
And Dave's actually been my go-to person lately, because my school is moving to standards-based, and we've not really received any training. And I'm now a department coordinator in my building, and it's trying to figure out what am I going to do? I don't know how to do this. So Dave has been incredibly helpful in offering me a lot of insight as to how to lead this with my department, to make it a lot less overwhelming. So I have a lot of gratitude for that.
Well, if I can chime in, I don't know if you have specific questions for them or not, but I just have to say the fact that you both are here is incredible. But I think you guys also represent educators everywhere with your perspectives. We have an administrator, an acclaimed teacher and coach and support for other educators as well. And you're both sitting here saying, I'm in this process of learning and growing. We throw teachers to the wolves oftentimes. They go through a 4-year training, they get their certificate, and we expect them to just have it all, know it all, go out there and do it. But you guys are successful, and you're still saying, yeah, but this is that piece right now that I'm kind of missing. And I'm ready to keep going and keep going. And your willingness to admit that is so huge. And it's powerful, because we don't see that. So often we put on this front and say, no, I got all the answers, but you're willing to say, no, give me more, feed me. I love that.
Right.
Well, and there's
I think especially when it comes to data, because data is considered such a foundational thing for teachers, again, that we don't normally teach them. So yeah, kudos to you guys.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing to be gained from not having some level of vulnerability in your learning. We all need to be vulnerable and be, some of the best learning in life comes from when you are vulnerable and say, I think I need help with this.
Yeah, I've learned a lot. I've been a school principal for 8 years now. And at first, when I was lying, like I understood data and knew what we were supposed to be looking at, I'd put it up in a faculty meeting. The staff saw right through me and they're like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And he's the one that's trying to like tell us where we need to go, how we're going to, get to the next level. So, just being honest with them, saying, look, help me out where you guys can. You guys just said no one knows all the answers or has like that silver bullet. So we need to work together to be better. That's
right. And I think that's why data has become that 4-letter word, because that is the one what we put on this facade for. I was a school principal in a couple of buildings and a central office administrator, and I led that facade and I facilitated that facade oftentimes. I would force teachers to sit in these data meetings, and I'd say, just sit around and discuss your kids' data. And teachers would walk in with these binders and notebooks, and there wouldn't really be a whole lot of conversation that would take place. Like, do we sit down and we talk about last year's state test scores? Or do we talk about NWA scores that happen 3 times a year, but we don't really know what it means? Like, how do you improve a RIT score? Or do we sit down and actually talk about the kids and what the kids know and their strengths and how to move them forward? And I played that game because that was the edict that came from on high, and I created the structure. Now I wanted the teachers to just play within that dirty sandbox and never gave them the tools to start digging.
Right.
So I'm hoping that we're making some progress with that right now.
I'd say so.
The dirty sandbox.
So. I do like that.
Sorry, that just totally came to me. You're supposed to hit the drop button. Don't you have a drop button?
No, I wasn't even sure what to do with that one. It took me like a couple seconds to process it. So, so is there anything in particular that really resonated with you, either through the book or through work that you've done with Dave?
I mean, Dave says and puts out there things that I feel so many people, and this is why I've connected with him so well and respect him so much. He's saying things that are on everyone's mind, and so many are afraid to say it.
Dumb enough to say it, like a dirty sandbox.
But it's, but that's the thing, and that's the problem I feel in education, where so many people are afraid to admit these things, and they're just going to keep it in, and then kind of keep playing the role or wearing the mask of what they think, how they're supposed to present themselves, and what they're supposed to say and do. And Dave's not like that, but I mean, and that's what's going to give you change, and that's what's going to benefit not just you but everybody. So I mean, that's this book is the same type of thing. I mean, it's helped me a lot, and kind of of course, when I was able to read it, and then we went on the pandemic, so it's kind of like, well, now I'm gonna have to hold on to this knowledge until things get to somewhat normalcy. But that's just why I'm so excited for Dave. I'm excited for this to finally come out, because like I said, he's saying what so many of us are thinking, but not putting out there. So,
well, there's just there's an ease and a realness to Dave that you don't see with a lot of people. When the last thing you want to have to deal with when you're dealing with data or having conversations around data is somebody talking at you, and Dave is somebody who's going to get in the sandbox with you.
The dirty one.
Yeah. He's not afraid to do that. And, the fact that he makes himself available and, has a very real understanding that, that this is not always going to be easy for people. There's just a way that he kind of disarms the process and makes you feel like you're in it with him and not kind of on your own. Right. And that's very endearing, and it's nice to have somebody who will do that. So and I'm like, after, a couple times I'm like, yeah, I can do this. Like, I can totally do this. Like, yeah, I can get in it. And, there are a lot of people who want to like throw things at you, but, don't necessarily make you feel confident moving forward. And like, after after a couple times of talking to Dave, I was like, yeah, I can totally do this. Like, I feel good about myself moving forward. And, you know, and David, I can get on the bike without the training wheels.
Oh,
and you
there
can
you go.
Put that into a rubric.
Oh, that's awesome. I wish you guys could just keep talking all night long, because this is amazing. This is like the best part of 2020 so far for me is the last 5 minutes. So keep going. But no, I really do appreciate it. And, you know, just to try to clarify some things, the reason I don't act like I know it all is because flat out I don't. I am truly clueless on so much about life. I really am. And when it came to writing this book, I remember the first outline I had of this book, it was pages long, and it probably could have been like a 700-page book. It could have been another dissertation or thesis about data and assessment. But then I looked at myself in the mirror and said, I would never pick that book up, and I would never read it. If somebody said, here's the next book about data and assessment, and it's 700 pages long, and there's a chapter on standard deviations, another chapter on stay nice, I'm putting it down right away. I had to write something that I would want to pick up and read right now, and that I'm going to want to go back in a year from now when I forget all the stuff that we're talking about right now, because the sandboxes get dirty, you know, and you forget stuff. I want to have something that I can pick up and read and reference, no matter where I am in that journey, whether I'm a principal or a coach or a coordinator or a teacher, first year, or somebody that's finishing their 20th year, and have it make sense to them. So I tried to make it that every man, every woman's Cliff Notes version of how to make things happen. So I hope it works.
No, and I would say you did.
Awesome.
And that's the thing. You don't write as somebody in your position. You write for all educators, regardless of where they're at. So,
absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We really, really appreciate you taking the time to be here out of your busy schedules. And so we'll sign off with you guys. But thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, guys.
Congrats,
thank you
Dave.
so much. Thank you.
Thanks for having us. See ya.
Yes. Bye-bye.
I had 2 people come to my party.
I know you had 2. Like, that is absolutely amazing.
Mike's not going, so Mike's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, he was going to stick around. I know. That was okay. Okay, so the next thing I would like to do is we have a few minutes. I'd love you to read from the introduction of the book. And read as much as you think that people are going to want to hear, but give us a little bit of your voice in this book and what it's all about.
Okay, I wish I planned better, because I'd be sitting in a rocking chair with a pipe in my mouth and a nice robe, some comfy slippers, and I would read you all to sleep tonight. So feel free, tuck yourselves in. Uncle Dave's going to read you a story. Are we ready? No, this is the intro. It's obviously not a novel. It starts with chapter 1, the intro, where it all begins is, what are we talking about? Assessment is the art of measuring students' inner thoughts by their outward behaviors. Let me jump right into this. This book is not designed to teach you statistics. You will not learn how to calculate z-scores, measure standard deviations, or determine statistical significance. This book is designed to teach you how to measure student learning more accurately, and perhaps more importantly, help you understand what you're limited in measuring. When I was crafting an outline for this text, I could have easily planned for a book that would have been hundreds of pages long, but that would have completely defeated the purpose. My goal was to create a book that makes assessment manageable and meaningful. My aim was to make this book something that was easy to read and not bogged down with jargon and formulas. You'll read analogies and metaphors during the first half of the book, designed to shape the conversation and engage even the most reluctant among us in the conversations that scare so many. In the final chapters of this book, you'll read about strategies that classroom teachers, schools, and districts can implement immediately to make an enduring impact. But with that said, I've intentionally chosen not to write a text steeped in formulas, statistical reasoning, and analytical science. This is a book for educators, written by an educator. So I ask for your forgiveness early on if I don't address every possible implication that could arise from a conversation around assessment. I hope to make assessment easy to understand and to make the ideas presented in these pages easy to implement in any classroom. In its purest form, assessment, as it will be used here, is an attempt to take internal knowledge and measure it with an external measure. It's really an exercise in translation. Students have understandings and misunderstandings in their heads that we as educators try to draw out so that we can make inferences and draw conclusions. Because of this, we all must understand that data analysis and assessment creation are an imperfect science, subject to interpretation, just like any act of translation. Each language on earth has its own subtleties and nuances, idioms, similes, metaphors, And all forms of figurative language have their own meanings rooted in unique context and societal histories. Teaching pronouns and verb agreement to an English speaker is done differently than it is to a speaker of Russian. Phonemic awareness is much different with Latin-based alphabets like English than it is with languages and origins in the Far East like Japan or China. As linguists will tell you, these variations often make pure translation between languages virtually impossible. There's always something lost in the translation. Think about how many English translations of the world's best-selling book there are, the Bible. King James, New International, Living, New Living, etc. There are an estimated 900 translations of the English Bible as scholars attempt to accurately determine the meaning of the original Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic. Remember that telephone game you used to play as a kid? One person begins by sharing a message with a person seated nearby. That person repeats the message to another, and so on. By the time the message has been shared just a few times and translated throughout the lens of multiple recipients, it's changed dramatically from what was originally created in the mind of the initial speaker. That's what's at play with translating language and with interpreting assessment data. And it goes on. Bottom line is, the goal is, I want people to understand that assessment, because I could keep reading to you all night, but you're falling asleep right now. I want you to wake back up. Assessment, interpreting assessment is an art form. It's not just a science. And I think that's where we've missed it so often in schools. We've taken data and made it the science of education. 20 years ago when we were just starting, teaching being an art and a science was all the talk. And right now, so much of education has turned into a formulaic science. We have pacing guides and scripts and all these algorithms that supposedly will tell us exactly what to teach, when to teach, how to teach. We have all of these formulaic assessments that we use to try to figure out where a student is. We now give assessments to predict how students will assess. Like, that is so asinine. We give an assessment 3 times a year to figure out how a kid is going to assess. That makes no sense, because that takes out the magic of the art of teaching. When we do these predictive assessments, we're saying that teachers no longer matter because the student is predicted to score a certain way, when in reality, a teacher has the power to change that trajectory. A teacher, when they're assessing correctly in their classroom and instructing with profound power like they have, can change a kid's destiny. They can change their trajectory. And that's what I want people to understand, is that assessment is truly an art form. It's trying to figure out what's going on in a kid's head and translating that externally, which is hard. To try to figure out what's happening with the synapses in somebody's head so that you can then do it and do something, learn something about that student and then do something with it, is a challenge. So the book goes through and gives you lots of things that you can do to try to figure out what kids are thinking and then what you can do with it.
Right. Yeah. Well, and the teachers are the single greatest determinant of student success. So when a lot of times I think, like it doesn't matter if you're talking about data, if you're talking about scripted curriculum or whatever it is, it's typically implemented like, the pacing guides and the scripted curriculums and all of that kind of stuff. It's implemented because teachers who are struggling, people don't want to take the time to help them sometimes. And so they implement the scripted stuff in order to help them and then kind of close off some teachers who have the ability naturally to do those types of things. I think it's a lack of PD.
Yeah. And another part of it is you have people like me. So I spent the last 12 years in education wearing a suit to work every day. And there are a lot of people in my role or in my roles who believe that they're in their roles because of how successful they were in their classroom. And they think it's their job to create many clones of who they are or who they were. So they come in and say, do things the way that I did them, and you will be successful just like I was. And it's horrible. It's flat out horrible for many reasons, which I know we don't have time to go into, but that's part of it. And the other part is we're in this fast food society right now where people don't want to take the time to understand a lot of the nuances that go into like data and assessment. So they will attend a quick 60-minute webinar or go to a conference and hear a speaker mention a couple of these buzzwords, and they implement something full tilt without fully understanding all the nuances. Dina, who was just on, has been a part of some of my standards-based grading webinars. And that's what we talk about is there are a lot of people with standards-based grading that say, oh, I just have to change from A, B, C, D, F to a 4-point scale and I'm good. Well, no, there's a whole lot that goes into it. And it's the same thing with assessment. Right. Yeah, I'll just give the NWA test 3 times a year. My students will be fine. Well, no, there's a whole lot more that you have to do. So.
Okay, and let's just say this out. Please don't do that. Please don't go from a 4-point scale. It's not ABC. That's not how that works. Don't do that.
Correct.
But that's another case of like sometimes even with professional development, like we do to kids, it's breadth over breadth. You know what I'm trying to say? Over depth.
Breadth over depth. Yes.
Yes, I did. I talked to Dave. I did have a little one of these right before we came on, just to kind of settle.
You were watching the
Settle down a
Cocktails and
bit,
Randomness
so
with me and
it's
Jeff,
like-
weren't you? And got inspired.
I
Yes.
was a little jealous. I'm not going to lie. So, okay, so we have a couple more people who want to join your party. I can't even believe it. I was like so nervous nobody was going to show up, and 2 more people showed up. That is
I am going to be
incredible.
so broke after tonight. Do you understand how much money I'm having to shell out to these people?
No doubt. All right, so let's welcome our 2 new guests that we have on. Woo! Wait, hang on. Oh no, I have things mixed up on the banner.
That's
This is
not Nick.
right. No, Maria is not Nick.
Nick, what have you done to yourself?
Hang on. So how are you ladies doing today?
Doing good.
I'm doing fabulous as well. Dave, we're so excited for your new book. I've loved listening to you and Mandy talk for the past half an hour, laughing and just like totally feeling everything that you've been sharing. So I'm so stoked to be with you, buddy.
Well, I appreciate you taking time away from your family to do this. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. To hang out with this crew? Are you kidding? Come on.
So why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves for everyone?
Go ahead.
Sure. Hi, I'm Maria. I am a supervisor of curriculum and instruction in New Jersey. And I just recently became connected with Dave, actually probably earlier this month. And I feel like, I don't know if you ever read the book Anne of Green Gables, but in that book, Anne talks about becoming kindred spirits with people when you just feel like you connect and you're on the same wavelength. And I feel like if we were in person, Dave and I would be really good friends.
Aw. I feel so bad for everybody in your life.
You need to raise the bar, honey. We need to get you some, no, just teasing.
That is so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, that's very sweet. All right, Ray?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, everyone. Sorry, my dog's barking in the background, but my name's Ray Hewart. I'm currently the Director of Training and Development for the Teach Better team, and I'm also a full-time 6th grade math teacher, so love kind of living both worlds right now.
That is awesome. So one thing that we're kind of asking everybody is if you guys read the book and if you have any kind of feedback for Dave on that on live television, or if you have any kind of anything that resonates with you for what he talks about when he works with you.
Well, I have not.
Go ahead. You start us off.
Okay, I have not yet read the book. I am waiting for my copy. So I know I'm in for a lot of good stuff, but I just have so I use Google Keep, and I just have a rolling list of takeaways for every webinar and thing and event or time I've seen Dave speak. I just kind of take these little nuggets of information down and I just kind of keep them next to me. And I love what you just said from the book was that measuring internal knowledge, that you're measuring internal knowledge with an external tool. And I never thought about that before. And I love it. I love thinking about assessment that way.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there's going to be so many nuggets in this book that allow you to challenge your thinking. You know, Dave and I actually have been fortunate enough to go live a few times to talk about the book. I love listening to you talk about this book, Dave, because every single time I hear you talking about it, I take something else away, food for thought that I want to consume and then consider, reflect, and then implement with my students. And I really appreciate that about you as a person. But that's how I know this book is fabulous, because the ability to think about assessment and get the ball rolling for these conversations, I know is a huge thing that you are an advocate for. You want people to continue to learn about this idea. And I love that this book is full of those tips that can get us talking. And I think that's the most important thing we can do about assessment right now, is to have conversations around what works, what doesn't work, and how can we reflect and change as we grow and adapt. So I have not yet gotten to see the entire thing, but I have no doubt that this is going to be a book that every single educator should be reading so they can continue to have those important conversations.
Well, I want to.
Wow.
first of all, thank you both for what you just said, because that's like amazing stuff. I'm like, oh, it's powerful and super sweet. But you're right, both of you. I mean, that is the goal. One of my standard lines, and Marie, you know this from the standards-based grading stuff, is I say all the time, there's no standard way to do standards-based grading. It is the idea of trying to just start the conversations. The goal is to always give people more to talk about. You know, as a former administrator, my goal was to always make teachers leave the staff meeting talking about the staff meeting. If they left just thinking, thank God I'm out of here, then I wasted my time. Same thing with teachers in the classroom. The way that I would always measure student engagement in a teacher's classroom was going to the lunchroom and talking to the kids. I want to hear that buzz to figure out if they're still talking about what they learned. That's kind of the goal between all of this, in this book especially. I don't want people to read the book and say, okay, that was good. I got something. I'm going to go do something about it. I want them to then continue the conversation and say, ooh, I'm not sure what I think about that, or I never thought about it that way. And then to challenge somebody else and to hopefully just spur those conversations. That's ultimately the goal of all learning, is to drive people together to have continued conversation. So we'll see, I hope.
Well, and Dave, what I really like is that all your books, this one included, continues to have that mindset. So whether you're doing, and I know that you've done really incredible standard-based grading webinars because all of my friends talk about them, or you're doing any sort of like live training or publishing books or blogs, like that continues to be something that you believe in. And I think that's why people love consuming the products and content you're able to put out, because educators like to be challenged and they like to have information that keeps them thinking.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I actually just had a conversation with one of the teachers on my committee right now. One of the super important things we're doing is identifying priority standards, because, you know, we don't know what this year is going to bring, but we do know that we have to really, really narrow our focus. And she was saying when she signed up for the committee, she thought it wasn't going to be as difficult as it is. Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah, you know, we are challenged with the situation that we're in, and I'm challenging you more as a teacher with the work that you're doing. And she said, but isn't that the point? And I was like, yeah, it is. It is the point. You didn't go into education to sit there, like, you know, and write with chalk on a dusty blackboard. Like, we're growing and changing in everything that we do.
That's it. If you can't get people to weigh in, you'll never get them to buy in. So flip the script and get people talking, and then you don't have to sit around and try to sell them anymore. So yeah, that's so good.
Was that another Dave moment? Was that what that was?
Is that an actual microphone?
Don't make fun of me, Mandy.
It's so hard not to. Do you know how I have to hold back sometimes?
I know.
Like, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of emotional stress on me sometimes. You make it so easy. All right, my friends. So is there anything else that you guys have for Dave? Thank you so much for joining his party. We weren't sure if anyone was going to show up, but we have now 4 people who have come to the party. So that's amazing. And thank you so much for being here. Any last words?
Thank you for opening my eyes to the way assessment can be an art form, because I thought of creativity in lesson planning and things like that, but I never thought of the creativity in assessments. And I'm like so excited to dig into that.
Wow.
Yeah, and Dave, I have to tell you, I hope that all of the listeners here and every other platform that you have, including your podcast and everything else, people see that you are really somebody to not only like enjoy the content of, but have those conversations with. You are always eager to talk to educators. I so value that about you. I know you're an incredibly busy man, but I love that people find you so approachable and are able to reach out and continue to have those conversations. So I really value that, and I hope all of the listeners here enjoy it, because that's a blessing that an educator is not only able to put out information, but also continue to have those conversations so we all grow. So I just really appreciate that about you.
Oh, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, ladies. Have a good night. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
We appreciate you. Bye. So Dave, this is like, I feel so when we originally invited guests on, we kind of thought that they would like talk about the book and what resonated and stuff, which is awesome. but they're saying such sweet things about you. How does that make you feel?
Well, it's interesting. I feel like I'm in boot camp right now. You know, in boot camp, they say you have to break somebody down to build them up. I feel like all these people are there to build me up, and then you're here to like, come on, Dave. Okay, and then Dave, like, Dave, come on. You are that truly that practice in humility for me. You're going to make sure that I understand that these are invited guests who are probably reading a script or something. No, it feels incredible. It feels incredible.
That is not true.
No, these are people that I admire so much and I look up to for a variety of different reasons. And I don't know that I've actually ever told any of these people that have been on so far, like what they mean to me personally and professionally. And what I'm hearing right now is that that's something I definitely need to do, because it makes a huge, huge difference to hear these things right now. It's incredible. It feels so good. It's so validating. And that's honestly, I didn't write this book so that I could get all the feel goods and have people blow smoke my way. But that means a lot more to me than people actually going out and buying a book. You know, that's the byproduct. I'm so happy just that I've got these relationships that are forming with these people that are connecting and are continuing to carry on the conversations with others. It's pretty cool.
Sure. Well, and the fact of the matter is that, you know, you make these connections because of who you are. And I can tease you all day long, and it's so easy to do sometimes. Like, you really do make it easy. But yeah. I could do that all day long. But when it comes down to it, like, you just make these connections all over the place because you are so approachable and because you are so kind and sweet and are willing to give your time to help people out. So, and I appreciate that about you as well. And I agree. I think that, Matt, I think it's common actually for people to not tell each other how much they mean to each other when they really need to, because we get so focused on our everyday. So, yeah, so I appreciate you too.
No, thank you. That's super sweet. That's kind. I mean, and it's pretty cool to, I mean, we're here to talk about a book, and I feel like that hasn't necessarily even been a lot of the conversation, but that's so exciting to me. That's what I want it to be. I want it to be people just making connections and people growing. And if the book is the thing that brings people together to start those conversations, awesome. But that's what it's ultimately about. It's about people coming together, growing together, and being willing to share and talk and joke and all of that stuff, because that's what makes people better people. So yeah, it's fun.
It makes us better teachers. Better teachers, because when you talk about like I always bring everything back around to the mental health stuff. But when you're talking about the mental health stuff, I think that when you start talking data and you start talking that kind of thing, that can be a huge stressor for some people when they don't understand what they're supposed to be doing or what they're supposed to be talking about. And so, I feel like the piece where you're helping people to feel comfortable about it, you're helping people to talk about it and giving them the vocabulary to use, like dirty playground. I've never read that in an assessment book, but
that is not in this book. If you buy a signed one, I'll sign that because it's not in print right now. So maybe that's the sequel, the dirty playground.
Buy it. Yeah, it's in there somewhere. We'll give a book to anybody who buys the book and finds Dirty Playground in there. We'll give you like an EduMatch sweatshirt.
And I hope Sarah's watching, because maybe that's the sequel, Sarah. Maybe I'm going to go to PD all across the country, sitting at like these back to school meetings, and I'm going to have a table that says, "I'm selling the Dirty Playground. Who wants in?" Think about how many books I'm spelling at the Dirty Playground. The Dirty Sandbox. Sorry, I'm gonna be selling some books.
Well, you could potentially have an entire playground and just have the Dirty Sandbox as part of the playground.
Ooh. I think I found my co-author.
I don't know if I could get through that manuscript. Sarah's like, do it. Yeah, we already have our contract. It's ready to go. Dirty Sandbox. Okay. So we have another guest coming on with us. You have another person here just for you, Dave. In fact, you have two people here just for you. And we're going to give her a minute in the green room to get settled. And so we have Nick Gregory and Lindsay Titus. So I am going to get them in here.
Do you know how?
Hi,
okay.
Lindsay.
Before they start talking, I got to talk about how incredible this is, because both of them are like running around like crazy today. I know their schedules because I'm that creepy. Like Lindsay has class and Nick has like his kid's baseball practice or something. And they both said, forget that. They're coming to this. That's incredible, guys.
Aw, that is incredible. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. I am. This is just so, this whole week has
Glad
been.
to be here.
And yeah, so excited.
Whoops.
Awesome. Very cool. So we've just been talking a little bit about Dave and his books, and just kind of asking, did you get the chance to read the book? And if so, what resonated with you, or what kind of resonates with you with Dave when you work with him?
Do you want to go, Nick?
Lindsay, you want to go first?
All right, sure. So I have not read the book yet, but I am so excited to. And this is why it resonates with me. So I am a K-12 behavior specialist. I'm a board certified behavior analyst. Data is my favorite word. It is one of my absolute favorite things. However, I work with staff that it is not. And I'm really excited to bring new ideas of how we can collaborate and use data to really kind of reignite our passion for what it is that we do. And I'm just really excited for the information so I can use that to further my connections with staff and really just gain more awareness of all the different data types. Learning through school, I did learn, a lot more of the, specific data, and it has to be this way. And what I've learned along the way is it can be any way, it can be anything. And I'm just really excited to keep expanding my own definition of data and then share that with the staff I work with every day.
That's awesome. And I love having someone on that says, actually, I love data because it's, it is one of those things that's just, a lot of people just don't, but I really do think that it stems from not, like you said, I learned and I to use it well. And I think that it stems from that fear of not knowing really what to do. Yeah. So I love that.
Yeah, I feel like Lindsay's
like
this.
Back in here. There you go.
I feel like Lindsay is this data disciple. I feel like she goes out to all the tribes to say, here's what data really means. And she's out there trying to preach because data has been crucified. And she's trying to get people to believe. I feel like that's her role.
Basically.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. All right, Nick, how about you? Welcome back.
Yeah, glad to be back. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Yep.
My screen keeps freezing up, so I'm seeing frozen people. So, but I'm glad to be here. I don't know. I haven't read the book yet.
But what he was going to say is Dave is absolutely incredible. I'll just act like I'll cover my lips. Hi, this is Nick. Dave is incredible. He is brilliant, probably the smartest guy on the planet. I've read thousands of books, but this is the book. If you're going to buy any book, it's this one that you want to buy. Nick, that is so sweet, man. Thank you so much. You are incredible. No, anytime, Dave. I mean, seriously, this is the book. Okay, he's gone now. I can't even fake it.
That's crazy how much you don't sound like him. That's insane.
No, but Nick, I don't know if he's going to be able to pop back in or not, but I'll just tell you who Nick is because I'll put him on a pedestal real quick. Nick is a guy that I look up to for his vulnerability. So Nick works in a district about 20 minutes away from where I live. And last year, Nick reached out to me, somehow tracked down my cell number or Twitter DM. I don't remember how we first connected. And he just said, hey, I've read some of your stuff and I just want somebody to talk to who I can bounce some of the ideas off of. Do you mind if we just connect? And then 2 days later, he drove to my school and we sat down in my office and talked for 2 hours and just had a conversation just about life, work, anything and everything. And he's that, how they say iron sharpens iron. He's become a piece of iron for me where he's a guy that we don't work together. We've never really hung out other than that time in my office, but we connect and we talk and we just share all the time. He's that guy that can poke the bear. Just 2 weeks ago, he picked up the phone and gave me a call. And we talked for another hour just about school and life and things that we were both feeling uncomfortable about. And that's why I was super excited to see him a part of this tonight, because that's what I'm looking for from people. And with assessment, we've talked about this all the time, he and I, about how our teachers don't necessarily get it because he's a leader. He's a high school assistant principal, and he will be the first one to say that he doesn't necessarily present it to teachers in the most effective way. We tell teachers to start chasing these magical scores without explaining what the scores mean, how to get them, or why the scores even matter. And it's that conversation of how can he communicate that better to his staff and grow his teachers that really, really excites me and it intrigues me about all the work he's doing. So that's Nick. So I felt like I needed to at least give him his due if he can't pop in.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think as an administrator, you have this strange combination of having been a teacher, but then seeing it from the administrative side, where you're like, oh, now I get why we focus on it, but because I didn't really like it or know how to do it as a teacher, I don't know how to teach other people to do it. And so you get kind of stuck in that place too. And so having you to bounce ideas off from and to speak with, I'm sure, is super helpful.
Yeah. Can I ask Lindsay a question real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Lindsay, one of the things about you that's super cool and exciting is you work in schools, but you also work with educators all over the place. Mm-hmm. You and I have talked to somebody that we have in common, who is notorious for saying you become an expert 50 miles from home. So when you're working in your district or at home, people just look at you like you're normal, everyday Joe Schmo, Lindsay, Mandy, Dave, whatever. But when you get 50 miles out, people start to say, ooh, you have something to offer. Mm-hmm. With your work with data, how do you try to change that conversation at home with those people closest to you that to them, you're just Lindsay?
And so it's such a great question, because I think I've done a lot of things that have not been effective. And I think living a life of constant reflection and constant questioning, and how do I make this better, and not even honestly better, but easier. Because my thought is, if it's easy and simple, we're going to do it, because that's human behavior. We do this simple and easy thing. And so for me, it's got to be purposeful. And so what I do when I'm looking through a behavior analytic lens, so what does that mean in schools? It means I help teams collect data, behavior data on students that we are looking to decrease challenging behavior and increase replacement behavior. I have to show that the work they're doing, so I'm not the one doing it, that they're doing is so purposeful and meaningful. So I help them connect what their action is and then what the outcome is, to show there is this increase or there's this decrease, whichever, what we're looking for. But it honestly has to start with having a relationship with the staff, and then really showing the purpose and the meaning. And that happens a lot through kind of me taking what they're doing and making it presentable in a way that they can understand it, so that then they are like, oh yeah, there's a reason why I'm doing this. It's not just something she's saying I should go do, but wow, this is powerful information that I'm, as the staff, I'm learning from. And that's amazing, because behavior change is with us. It's not with the students. So I think for me, it's connecting with staff, and it's showing the real purpose and meaning behind what they're doing when we are collecting data in whatever that looks like.
That's awesome. So the why behind why they're doing what they are doing. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. I think, one of the things that I learned, so this will be my third year going into this specific district. And I do trainings all the time. I do, one-on-one trainings in my district. I do group trainings in my district. And one of the pieces of feedback I get is that, is when you make it real, when you make it something that I can easily understand and I can get behind, I'm going to do it, no problem. But that hasn't always been the mission. It's been, you will collect data because this student in your class has a behavior plan and it's regulated by the state. And those might be true. And they are true. It is regulated by the state. We, that. But if I start with that, it's just like me telling a kid, you have to do this because New York State says so. We know that's not effective, yet we do it with our staff. Right. I go the opposite route, and I'm like, you tell me and let's come up with a game plan together.
That's it. You tell a student that their job is to learn standards and to collect points. That's what they're going to do. They will simply pass a test and collect points. But if you tell them their responsibility is to learn things and you can make things relevant to them, and then you figure out ways to assess that are relevant, like taking paper pencil tests and quizzes. In this book, you're not going to see me or hear me say that stuff is wrong and bad. If you still need to get paper pencil tests and quizzes, go right ahead. Nobody's going to blame you except for the kids in your classroom. I'm not going to tell you how boring it is. They will. But our job is to prepare kids for life, and it's our job to assess whether or not kids are going to be successful in life. And yeah, you can argue that tests are a part of life. Absolutely. We can have that argument. But I'll also argue that life is a part of life. So I would rather assess life than assess test taking any day of the week.
Yeah. Well, and can I share a real quick story with that? So you've been sharing that all week, and that it was today that it really clicked. And so, and that was me. That was literally me in high school. I can cram for a test like no tomorrow. I can memorize content, and I can do really well on that, unit test or whatever it might be. And I took AP chemistry in high school. Not really sure why, but I did. And I had 80s, high 80s in the course. All through the course, I got a 1 on the AP exam. Because by the time came to the end of the year, I had no idea what I had learned, because I learned it for the unit test, not to actually implement or remember, understand by the end of the year. And so I can't agree with that more. It's got to be meaningful. It's got to be able to use. It's knowing is different than doing. If I'm not doing anything with the content, then do I really understand it? So
that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Lindsay. Nick has been able to join us again. Nick, we missed you.
Here, man. I filled in everything you wanted to say. I already said it.
We were having a party, and you got lost in the bathroom somewhere, and we weren't sure where you were. So.
Oh, it's been one of those days. I mean, talk about adapting and doing what we need to do, which I think is kind of one of the themes here. No dirty playgrounds or whatever any of that stuff was. But yeah, I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to get the book. I can't wait. I really can't. It's going to be a good read in the off season. I like to think of this as the off season, even though this year it's not too much of an off season.
Yeah, it's training camp.
Kind of the on season, off season. Yeah. Yeah, the training camp that nobody's allowed at. Right. Packers just announced they're not allowing anybody at training camp, which here is like a huge deal. Like, you're not allowed to go watch camp.
Yeah, Packers. Where we're from, they try to beg people to go to training camp.
I got the Buffalo Bills. That's what I got.
Oh, Bills, Lions.
Man, this is a sad group of people right here. Wow.
Could be worse. We could be Browns fans. Could always be worse.
True story.
True story.
True.
All right. Well, Nick, what did you have? So Dave gave you this amazing monologue about how he knows you and who you are. I don't know if you heard that.
You see, I don't know how much what he told you, but the truth of it, at least from my standpoint, I was kind of seeking out some ideas leadership wise, and it turns out, oh, there's my daughter. Shut the door, love. It turns out that we ended up finding some commonality with assessment and some of those. So the conversation took off, and I'm a standards-based grading, was a teacher for 18 years. And now as an administrator, to me, it's the way to go, but I want to figure out those baby steps, and I need some of those tools to build into it. So we'll get there.
Absolutely. Yeah, and Lindsay had said a little bit about that, kind of that same thing. Like you have to know why you're doing it, and then you have to know how, but until you know really why, or your staff knows why. Yeah,
you can't be because somebody in a suit telling you to.
It can't be, and that's one of the things Dave and I. I'm not sure how well he remembers it, but he really, in our conversation when we met in person, really made that impression on me that these are kind of grassroots efforts. It's the right thing to do, and but you really have to get to the why, and then kind of take away the mystery from data. I mean, let's be real. I mean, that it is, you were talking about it being the 4-letter word in the staff lounge that gets people up in arms. Yeah, there's some truth in that. So I'm eager to learn some new ideas, quite frankly.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for being here. We really, really appreciate you. You like rounded out the party, so it was amazing.
You're amazing. Thank you so much, you guys.
And Nick, Nick, we know that you worked really hard.
I'm glad to be here.
Find your way back from the bathroom. Yeah.
Dave, I'm excited for you, man. I really am. I think
I appreciate you.
I hear a lot of people being happy for you, and I think it's that personal
Aw.
connection, and that'll come through in the writing. That's what I'm eager to
I
do.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
That's so great. Well, thank you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
both. Thank you.
Bye. Okay. So lots of like, I'm almost teary for you.
This is awesome.
That's so
This
cool.
is good.
I know. So cool.
Can we do this again next week?
No.
No? Oh, okay. Okay, you are direct.
No. Have you ever known me to be anything
That's
but that?
it. Okay.
Okay, just to recap today. So we have author Dr. Dave Schmittou is here talking about his book, and we had a bunch of people on to tell him how amazing he is. And also, just as kind of an update, EduMatch, if you didn't know, gives bulk discounts for over like 10 or more books. That's not a lot of books at all. That's like a book club. So if you want to purchase books in bulk at a discount, you can email the great Sarah Thomas.
I love it.
Our fearless leader. She's one of the biggest badasses I know. I absolutely love this woman. Like, I cannot say enough good things about her. And so email Sarah. Sarah. She's also known as Sarah. That's what I call her. I don't know if anybody like on all her social media, she's Sarah. But you can email Sarah at sarah@edumatch.org. And you can ask her for the bulk discount, and she can get you that. You can also find Dave's book at this bit.ly address right here. And so if you go to that bit.ly address, it brings you to all your books, doesn't it?
That just takes you to Amazon. So that's just if you want to eliminate the search. Yep.
If you want to go there, you can do that. And then also, if you want to follow Dave on Twitter, you can find him at Dave Schmittou at Dave. There you go. I was going to say .com, but that's not how that works.
That's not it. That's not it.
It's right. That's not
Have
right.
you ever used Twitter, Mandy?
I don't know how it actually works. I think I'm saying it right, but I'm not sure.
You can find me on
okay, so
Twitter.
we have to give away books. We promised to give away books.
Yes, we did. Yes, sure. 2 works.
Okay. 2 works. Okay. So how would you like to do this? Would you like to randomly kind of scroll through the comments and pick somebody, or
whose birthday is closest today? Who's the tallest? What do you want to do?
How about this? I can scroll through the comments, and somebody who I click on, then we'll do that. Is that okay?
Okay, yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. I'm going to scroll quickly. All right. So why is this not? Oh, Melody was asking a random question. What was the first title? I'm not even sure what she was referencing.
Oh,
but Melody
okay.
McAllister wins one of the books.
Woohoo!
So that is amazing. Woohoo!
No, hold on. I have to make sure. Melody, shipping rate is still standard going to Alaska, right? That's not another country or anything?
Yeah, I think it might be.
we're good. We'll find out.
You might be paying a
That's
lot
all right.
out of pocket.
That's all right.
And then we have Lori McDonald Guyan, maybe something that kind of it's like, I bet you it's like a Guyan. Does that sound right? So I probably murdered it, Lori. I'm so sorry. I'm really bad at names. But if both of you could please either get Dave on Twitter, or you can email him. Dave, what's your email?
It's a tough one. It's david.schmittou@gmail.com.
We'll just put that up there. So you can either get him on Twitter, or you can get him by emailing him, but send him your information, and then he will go ahead and send you a book.
That is
so
awesome.
We are done. We are actually 4 minutes over.
That's all?
But we're done.
That might be a record for me. Only going 4 minutes over on anything. Yay.
Well, you do talk a lot, so.
Yeah.
But It was such a pleasure to do this with you. Thank you for letting me host your launch party.
Oh, this was awesome. I appreciate it so much. When you mentioned that you wanted to do this, I mean, I was over the moon. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate you being like my guinea pig. And since this is our first ever launch party, we weren't sure how it was going to go. And when I keep saying we, I just meant me, because I was the only one that was planning it. And so I was trying really hard. But so I hope that you feel like it went well. You had so many amazing people on here. I loved your author reading of the book. And so many awesome comments. I highly recommend going through them because so many nice things. Lori, who won, don't forget to reach out to Dave and give him your information. Lots of congratulations. Oh, John Harper. John is my co-host for Teachers Aid. And so that is awesome. Melody. So we have lots of awesome people here.
That's
so
cool.
Thank you everybody for being here. And thank you, Dave, for the release of your book and for being here as well. And we're going to wish everybody a good night.